Welcome to Haven for Healers. This is a safe space for people who are here to help others heal, shift, and grow. And so, hello, Allie. My dog's in the way. Anyways, so if you ever feel like people naturally come to you for advice, for comfort, or energy, or you've just been through just a lot of traumatic experiences where it seems like you've experienced a lot more than what the average person may typically go through, but you still come out with a lot of compassion and wisdom on the other side, then I think this page is for you. So today I'm going to talk about the life path numbers, so that carry healing energy. So this is typically, let me make sure I can see my notes. I want to make sure that I hit on all of the past. I did a video before, and I think I only mentioned like 4 of them, and there's more than that. So let's see, we're going to start out. I'm going to go through each one, just give a brief kind of overview of that path and how they use their energy. And then later we'll get into how to protect your energy and protect yourself from spiritual overload and burnout and drainage and just all the other things that come with being a source, basically. So I want to talk about healers. It's not like the doctors or therapists, more of like an energetic healer. So these people typically aren't always in healing professions. It's really more of the life path that you walk, the embodiment of your daily life. Like, it's not anything particular that you have to do. It's just what comes natural to you. So we're gonna start with life path 6. Path 6 is the heart-centered centered healer. They are like the nurturers, the one who kind of checks on everyone, who kind of, when you're unevolved, they may consistently pour from an empty cup. Like, they may not have the awareness to replenish themselves enough, which can definitely lead to burnout. But they heal through love, family, service, and loyalty. And the things to watch out for with life path 6 is martyrdom. That's what I just said, of like healing everyone else or pouring into everyone else from an empty cup. So that means that you are not replenished. You are in a burnout state, and you're still trying to give to other people at the risk of yourself, which I have to remind people that are life path 6 of, like, that's not your job, or you're not responsible for them, or because people may place all this expectation on you because they can sense that you know, or that you're aware. Even when you're young, like, I know children that are life path 6, and they are currently in an environment where people expect a lot from them. They may become parentified early because people can sense that they provide a calming, healing energy. But these people may also be projected on because of that, where it's just like, oh, like, you think you this, you think you that, even as kids. Or it's like, oh, you think you're so mature, you think you're so whatever. So people will challenge you in order to kind of humble you or keep you under their control, even though you are the one offering a healing space environment for them. But this is that's for all healers, honestly. That's I think a thing that comes with all healers. Excuse me. So for life path 6, your superpower is only strong when your own needs are met first. So you should not be pouring from an empty cup. You are not a martyr. You are not to self-sacrifice. And even if you may mean the best, like, you may really want to help somebody, and it's like, well, I can do this, but you have to think about what are you going to give up to help that person? Like, what are you sacrificing in order to show up for them? So moving on to life path 9. Life path 9 is considered like the wounded healer, but I feel like we all are wounded healers. However, I believe life path 9 has a little bit more of a prominent Chiron placement, which is astrology, and we'll get into that another time video. However, life path 9 is known to experience a lot of pain, loss, and betrayal. And I know that all healers go through those things, because that is how you learn to be more discerning and to build wisdom and all this other stuff. However, Life Path 9, they've kind of been through it and have to turn that pain into purpose, like, or they will self-destruct. Like, so there is no, like, how many people kind of carry their wounds with them. I know that we all kind of carry wounds, but the way that it kind of has the potential to consume Life Path 9 makes it more of a survival, that they have to heal themselves. They have to repurpose their wounds and show up in the world, or risk being crumbled, by the world. And so, Life Path 9, they heal through compassion, art, spirituality, and truth. And so they're here to hold space for the full human experience, even the ugly parts. So these are the people who they may run across, like, the most mean and just hateful people, and they may experience just the most traumatic situations, to the point where some of us can't even really imagine or think, like, well, I wouldn't even know what I would do, and they're able to create the most poetic, situations, or poetic translation of the experience, or transform it into a artistic piece, or just provide that space for other people to say, like, I know, like, what you're feeling, because I felt that, and I've gotten past it, and I've been able to still show up in the world. So then you heal the wounds in other people, because they then feel like, okay, I can get past it too. Like, here this person is, still finding the joy in life, still seeing the beauty in everything, still being able to have hope. And so it's like, maybe I can do that too, And so, moving on to Life Path 11. Life Path 11 is considered the spiritual light worker. So their energy is considered, like, next level. They receive divine downloads, intuitive dreams, just a natural channeler between the spirit world and the real world, or the 3D, and whatever you want to call it. So they heal by inspiring others to remember who they are. This path, the Life Path 11, is very intense. So they may have a lot of intense connections. Like, they very rarely have surface level connections. It just kind of comes with their path of having deep and intense connections with people, just because they see beyond the physical, and they have a more of a spiritual insight. And I got off track. So for Life Path 11, when it comes to the ways to protect themselves, so they need to protect their nervous system, and ground daily, and don't isolate when they feel misunderstood. So that is important. When you receive constant downloads, or just ongoing intuitive messages while you're trying to participate in daily life and be a normal person, whatever that may be like, or whatever that may be, or when you're expected to show up in that way. I won't even say that Life Path 11s feel like they should be normal, because for them what they feel is normal. But when your natural self interacts with an outside or exterior society, and they think that you are different or off, and you still have all of this intuitive background going, and you're able to see beyond the physical and receive downloads while all this is going on, you probably can imagine how that may be very overwhelming. I mean, if you're a Life Path 11 people, then they understand. But so taking care of your nervous system is very important. I said that for all healers, taking care of your nervous system is important, but I think for 11s that it is that as we transition into a more intuitive, spiritual, telepathic society, that those things, that daily spiritual hygiene is something that needs to be taken into major consideration. And that's even if you have a Uranus in your first house. So it's not even like there's just so many different aspects of astrology and personality based divinity. I don't know if that's a term or not, but so all the things that kind of make us up, like if you want to look at your natal chart, if you want to look at your human design or your life path or all these things, there's like several different placements across all these aspects that show us where we can hold tension, anxiety, and nervous system dysregulation in our body. So we can definitely get into that later, but I want to say for all life paths, like taking care of your nervous system, taking time to decompress, to ground yourself, to cleanse your energetic field is very, very important, because we are carrying the weight of the community, of the people around us, whether we want to or not. It's just part of the path. And so life path 2, let's get into that one. Life path 2 is the energetic harmonizer. And for life path 11 is, there's life path 11 or people who are just straight life path 11, and there are other people who are life path 11 that was derived from life path 2. So if your 11 was derived from life path 2, then you spend about the first 30 years as a life path 2. And once you reach your solar return, which is around the age of like 28, 29, 31, 32, around there, then you evolve into life path 11. Okay, so for life path 2, they are the peace in human form, basically. They know how to create balance, harmony, and connection. They are like the connectors. So typically you find them in spaces where they have many different groups of friends. They typically know a lot of people. They have a real community base. Like they always have something to do. There's always people who are inviting them to things. Like I have a few friends who are like path 2, and they kind of always know what's going on. I can always say, hey, what you up to? And they're like, oh, I'm about to do this and do that. Like I've met a lot of people through life path 2 people. They are really good connectors. And so they heal through relationships, emotional intelligence, and deep listening. And one thing to be mindful of with life path 2 is to not disappear into the background. Like your voice matters. Like you're not here to just hold space for other people. You are here to live your life to the fullest and to be able to provide. When you are operating in a sense of flow, a sense of ease, a sense of comfort and peace, then you inspire other people to do so as well. Like if you are peace in like in human form, but then you're very like stressed out and overwhelmed and aggressive, it's like these people may want to be around you because they know that you have the potential to offer this healing energy, but at the same time you could snatch it away. It could be a adverse interaction where you may heal someone. So y'all hanging out, you may heal someone, and then eventually towards the end of the outing or whatever, you start to get irritated and frustrated, and you just like snap, or something happens and you snap, and it kind of put everyone on edge because you were overwhelmed. And so now the healing that was provided has now been snatched away. So I like for life path 2, it's very, very important to make sure that you are in a good mood and that you are at peace with yourself, so that you can show up in a way that benefits everyone, because life path 2 also absorbs energy. So if you are stable and grounded within yourself, it decreases the chances of people being able to throw you off with their energy. You are able to influence, not be influenced. But when you're influenced and you hold more weight or more power, like let's say that there's someone else who, the person that influenced you isn't a healer. They don't carry any weight. They're not, their mood doesn't affect other people, but because you're sensitive to energy and you absorb energy, it impacted you. And so now you have this person's energy on you, and now you're frustrated and irritated, and you're going to impact all the other people around you, because that's just the power that you hold. And so that's why I think being aware of ourselves, knowing the energy that we hold, knowing our impact on others is very important. Because it gives us permission to be like, to say, I'm gonna sit this one out, or I know that it would do everyone more good if I stayed home, or if I just left early. And if I just like, don't do anything that you don't want to do. Don't be in spaces where you don't feel comfortable or safe. Because overall, you're not pleasing anybody. Like, you're not, I feel like all healers can get into or have experienced the phase of like people pleasing. But ultimately, if you are not comfortable or grounded or in a healthy space, you may think you're pleasing these people, but you probably would have been able to please them more had you stood your boundaries and did what you knew was best. Because sometimes we can heal spaces by leaving them, honestly. I feel like that I've been able to provoke healing in a lot of spaces by walking away. So don't think that your healing is always by staying in, or by what's the word? Yeah, I hope you know what I'm talking about. That your healing is always where you have to be connected, or you have to like participate or be around. Like, sometimes the healing can happen when you leave. So Life Path 22. Life Path 22 is the systemic healer. So they are kind of not really around for small talk. They're more business minded. They're here to build hospitals and schools and wellness programs, and have a real lasting impact. Like, they're more legacy minded. So they may have like holistic shops, or the mystic shops that offer like courses and classes. They may work in hospitals or specialized care places. They're like the more of the background, like legacy builders. And so they heal through vision and infrastructure. So building, and being able to provide these spaces for people to go, for healers to go, or for people who need healing or care or guidance. And for Life Path 22, it's important to stay patient, grounded, and don't let perfectionism kill your progress. Like, I know that it can be, when your path is very intuitively drawn out, and then you're looking at other people who don't have the insight, don't have the spiritual connection. They're not tapped in from what we see. And so you may think like, they're going a lot faster than me, or they have more than me, or I've been doing XYZ and I don't have this, and that. And it's like, you kind of have to stay focused and remain tapped in, remain and grounded. Like, pray, meditate, and make sure that you are able to receive clear insight, like divine insight, in order to keep building and moving forward. That also goes into human design. Like, when we get into human design later, I feel like that will play a great factor in knowing what your authority is. Like, if you are a generator, then you know that it's your path, that it's in your authority to respond to things. So you may have to wait more for opportunities to come and wait for what feels right. If you're a manifester, you have to tell people what you're trying to do, and they will help you, like inform them of what you're trying to do. If you're a projector, then you have to kind of wait to be invited. So you may have to keep building and putting things out there and wait for someone to say like, hey, I like your idea, come work with me. So those are things to keep in mind when we're looking at different aspects of our makeup, our personality, and our purpose in life. So the bonus life path, we're moving on to Life Path 5, which is the embodied transformer. So they heal through movement, sensuality, freedom, and lived experiences. So their body holds wisdom. So they typically are in spaces where they are dancers, or they may teach tantra classes, or breath work, or somatics. They may have like yoga operate in doing yoga retreats like overseas. And let's say overseas, I mean like in like the, you go to like the Caribbean. I don't want to like specify a specific place, but how you can go to these resorts and you have people there who've dedicated their entire life to teaching people how to heal through like breathwork, recovery, embodiment, and just all the things that involve the physical space, which is different from Life Path 2, because Life Path 2 is a healer within themselves. They heal through hands. Like they are usually in like massage therapy spaces or things that involve like hands-on occasionally, but they also just have a natural healing presence. Versus 5, they are very hands-on with things. And for Life 5, the thing is to remember is not to self-destruct for the sake of freedom. And so with that, it's like, how can I put it? When I say self-destruct for the sake of freedom, that is like when you have all these things lined up, or you've dedicated your whole life to teaching these classes, like the people who, the healers who are over to like the retreat. Or let's say, I'll use an example. Let's say that you get an offer to go and live in Bali for 2 years and work on a resort and teach yoga, and after a year you feel stuck, you feel trapped, you feel like your whole life is just that and nothing else. And so you may uproot everything and just leave and just go back. And I'm not saying that that's right or wrong, but I am saying like at some point in there, it may have been helpful to build your own ritual and roots. Like don't dedicate your entire life to pouring out. You have to still have something for yourself. So whether that means picking up an extra sport that you like, or finding a class that you go to that you enjoy, or doing something that just doesn't involve body work, that doesn't like don't allow it to consume your entire identity, where that's all people see you as. Like, oh well, she's just a dancer, like, and that's just like, and you are okay with that because you know that that's what you give back, you know that's what you offer, that's where you thrive. But you can't let those things consume your identity, or you're going to feel like you're here to just give and not to receive. Even if people are very grateful, or they're paying all this money to come to your classes and all these things, you need a self-fulfillment that does not involve you giving. I think that's for all healers too, but Life Path 5 specifically. So when it comes to all of them, so that's all the paths that are for the life path. And so each one of these paths heals differently. You don't need to be in formal healing jobs to be a healer. You could be an artist. You could be a mom, just breaking generational curses, and healing your family and your lineage as you go along. You could be a friend who always sees the bigger picture of things, who always just offers hope. You could be into astrology and offer natal report readings for people and help them see things from a different perspective. You could work in a school, and be willing to give out hugs every day and be like a beacon of light to all these kids coming up who will get a chance to know what love feels like, where it may be neglected or lacking in other places of their life. So there's definitely many different spaces that healers heal in. You don't have to dedicate your entire life to one profession, thinking that that's the only way that you can feel useful or purposeful, is to consistently keep pouring out. Sometimes it's just simply showing up as yourself. So with that, the best way that we can kind of maintain ourselves is to create boundaries, like spiritual and emotional boundaries. Learn to say no, even when you feel guilty. Learn to say no, because as I said before, sometimes the healing is in leaving. The healing is in self-preservation. The healing is in not allowing ourselves into environments that could potentially make us a version of ourselves that we won't be happy with later. Use your healing tools on yourself. Don't just pour out to other people. Know your power, what you possess, and be able to pour that back into yourself. Like if you are a life path 2, be able to show up for yourself and tell yourself what you need and go out and make it happen, and get it. If you're a life path 11 and you're consistently like encouraging other people and showing them who they are, reminding them who they are, make sure that you remind yourself who you are daily. Life path 22, like make sure that you are remembering what's important to you and that you're consistently building systems and structures and aiming higher for things that you'll be proud of, not for what is going to sell the most or what's going to be competitive in the market or what is going to put you ahead of everybody else. Like, no, make sure that it aligns with your personal goals, your personal missions, and things that create a life that you don't have to escape from, basically. And trust your cycles. So rest is part of medicine. Make sure that you're getting enough sleep, enough rest, especially if you are a dreamer. If you're a lot of your healing or intuitive downloads come through dreams, make sure that you have good good daily routine, like sleep hygiene, that you are waking up well rested, that you're able to get a restorative sleep. If you need to, get a Fitbit, sleep watch. I know people, I don't know what all Apple Watch does, but Fitbit, like I track my sleep score. I make sure that I'm getting enough rest. I know like how long I slept, if it was quality sleep, because all those things are important, and we really have to learn to incorporate our physical body, our physical self, our human form with our spiritual form, so that we can maintain the best versions of ourselves without giving all the way into one side or another. Because you're very, like people say, like, oh, what profits a man to gain the world and lose his soul? But what profits them to have your soul and you kind of lose the world because you're so caught up into giving and being of service and following love and light that you neglect your physical body. You're not getting enough sleep because you're pouring into other people. You aren't eating well because you are always on the go for somebody else, so all you eat is fast food. Like, there's just all these things that eventually start to show or build up in our own personal neglect, despite us doing good or common good for the collective of being healers and pouring into them. So make sure that you take care of yourself first. And then surround yourself with other healers, like we're doing right here, like Healing Haven. Surround yourself with other healers. Surround yourself with people who will pour into you. And keep these people accountable. Like, I know a lot of healers, and they don't always know that they're healers. And so I'll let them know, because it's like, I feel like that once you know, you can kind of operate differently. But usually when people are healers and they don't know that they're healers, they aren't aware of how their energy impacts other people. Or sometimes people know that they're healers and they don't know how to operate in their energy. And so you end up with these adverse reactions of where you are, you kind of let your guard down around someone and they are not healed, or they are in a space of burnout and they wound you in some way. So surround yourself with healers, keep each other accountable, and doing the work and showing up for each other, like a healing space where we heal each other. And the next part is energy protection. So I feel like that goes along with surrounding yourself with healers and making sure that you're keeping them accountable. And also setting boundaries for yourself of knowing what's green flags, red flags, when it comes to people. But I feel like it's important to know that leaking energy can be very draining, and overall, not the what's the word? I don't want to say harmful. But it is. It can be overall harmful when you are not aware of yourself and you allow unworthy spaces to tap into your energy, or you're giving yourself to these sources that can't pour back into you, it eventually builds up resentment. You eventually feel drained. It also causes like physical ailments, like your a lot of autoimmune conditions like evolve from constantly being neglected and suppressed and giving to others outside of yourself, while you don't get anything back, while you're neglected and you're suffering and you're not speaking up, speaking your truth, you're withholding it. And so now your nervous system is out of whack. Like a life path 11, the ones who have to keep up with their nervous system, due to the ongoing like constant downloads and energetic fields, are usually at risk for autoimmune conditions because of the lack of physical awareness that goes into such a spiritual path. And I think that goes for everyone. So when it comes to spiritual practices, energetic cords, being able to cut cords after deep conversations, that's when you talk to someone and you really kind of deeply talk to someone, you kind of like empathize with them, or you kind of, it's like, I know what you're feeling. And you kind of feel a little bit heavy afterwards, even though it's not yours to carry, but you kind of have that lingering like residue from the conversation. It's important to clear that field, to clear out your energetic field. So like salt baths, spiritual showers, or grounding walks, like walk outside in the grass barefoot. It's okay to walk on concrete barefoot too. I feel like it's I can't think of the word, but I have this mat too where it's spiky and you walk on it, but it's supposed to kind of help you like ground into your body and give you a sensation. I'll find the word at some point. But so wearing crystals, if you're into that, like black tourmaline, I don't know if I'm even saying that right, labradorite. There's a whole book of crystals, but I'm sure people can look them up. Pinterest, use Pinterest. Look up healing crystals or energetic protection crystals or things of that nature, and find a actual crystal shop. Use our small businesses, like utilize small businesses. There are a lot of shops of people who sell real crystals and healing stones and things like that. Saying affirmations is healing. Like, my energy is mine. I speak to heal and not harm. I am worthy of love without giving of myself, or overextending myself. There's just so many things that we have to consistently like pour into ourselves and remind ourselves, because people will pull on you like left and right, and you'll feel like it's your job. You'll feel like you are denying your purpose if you don't show up for these people, even if you really don't have the capacity to show up for them. You eventually start to self-abandon, like you're abandoning yourself and abusing yourself, because you know that you need sleep, that you need rest, that you need time alone, but you're still sacrificing all of that to show up for somebody else who probably can't show up for you. And if they can show up for you, if they are also a healer, they would understand, Meditating is very important. Protecting your aura is very important. So sometimes you can visualize like a golden light surrounding your aura, or visualize, or when you meditate, start with a white light and let it keep expanding and expanding. We can get into that at some other point if you are not familiar with meditating, and how to really center yourself. But I say all this to say that you don't need to be paranoid. You just need to be prepared. Because when you experience such intense energy, or even as the planets change and we go through all of these astrological transformations, as the collective evolves and people are becoming more aware of spirituality, the energy is only going to intensify. And with that, it can make you paranoid. It can make you feel like you are on display, that you're just in an open energetic field and everybody kind of tap into you. But that's where you have to kind of learn to stay grounded within yourself. And that could be in just so many different ways of listening to music, or saying affirmations to yourself when you're in like crowded spaces. Just being able to control your own mind so that you are not as susceptible to the energy around you. Being able to control your circle, the people who you allow into your space, the things that you allow yourself to listen to, the things that you invest energy into solving for other people. You have to create boundaries, standards, and know your morals and values. And once you know those things, it makes things a little bit more clear. Like if someone's just like, oh, I just robbed a bank, I need you to come get me right away, and they're like panicking and freaking out, and you may be like, dang, I need to go help them out, they really need me. But it's just like, I don't really condone stealing though. And if I come help you out, now I'm accomplice to a crime, and I really love you, and I really want to be there for you, and I can feel that you are in great distress, but this goes against what I stand for. So I'm gonna have to say no. And that's just how you have to keep going, how you have to keep applying to life. I just keep hitting on top of the head. That's how you keep going. That's how you have to view things. If once you have set the standard for yourself, you owe it to yourself. And like I feel like in overtime, people know not to call me nothing like that. They already know that I am a very much law-abiding citizen for the most part, especially with stuff like that. Yeah, I don't condone stuff like that. But so let's see, is there anything else I wanted to cover in this intro video? I think that's really it. Like, I hope that this provided some sense of clarity, some sense of knowledge on how powerful you are and how sacred your role is. That healers are not just here to fix people. You're not just here to hold space for everything that people go through and just all this stuff. Like, we're here to help people transform, to hold space for renewal, for transformation, for recovery, not for abuse, not for neglect, not for just anything that does not feel good to your spirit. Like, learn to say no to things that don't feel good to you. It's important to honor our own healing as well as the healing of other people. Like, we know that we've done the work. We know what we've been through. So never neglect that or put that to the side and be willing to jump back into a puddle or back into a hole to save someone else. It's like when you know how much it takes for you to get out of something, it's discerning to know that you don't want to go back into that space. So never let no one drag you back into spaces that you worked hard to get out of. So if this resonated with you guys, definitely feel free to join and subscribe. I'm going to keep on going and hopefully be able to really push us along. Like, I feel like that if I knew these things earlier in life, or just even if I knew this stuff 5 years ago, that I could have navigated life a little bit differently. I could have shielded myself from a lot of experiences. But just knowing that more healers will be born. Like, I hope that this video stays around for years to come, for a child who's not even born yet, will experience one of these life paths and need to know what that looks like. So drop your life path number if you want, and we can kind of go over that. Maybe you can meet other people who are on the same life path as you or have the same life path as you. I don't know how people feel about that. And yeah, we can talk about how we show up in the world and how we can consistently protect ourselves and go over the healer's journey in the next videos to come.